Hello, I am Bhavna Sharma, subject faculty of financial accounting. Today we are going to discuss the accounting principles. Accounting is the language of the business through which a business communicates with the outside world. So, in order to make this language commonly understood by all, it is necessary that it should be based on some criterion, some uniform, scientifically laid down standards. These standards are known as accounting principles. So, it may be defined as those rules of action adopted by accountants universally while recording the accounting transactions. So, all the accountants have to follow the same principles, same rules, so that the books or accounts can be compared. Now, accounting principles can be broadly classified into two categories. One is accounting concepts, another one is accounting conventions. So first we'll discuss the accounting concepts. Accounting concepts means the basic assumptions or basic conditions on which the accounting is based. So there are certain rules which the accountant has to follow whenever the accountant is recording the business transactions or preparing the books of accounts. These rules are known as accounting concepts. And conventions means the guidelines which the accountant has to follow, the standard which the accountant has to follow. So these are the different accounting concepts that we are going to study. One is separate entity concept, money measurement concept, going concern concept, cost concept, dual aspect concept, accounting period concept, matching concept, and realization concept. So now we'll discuss one by one. First one is separate entity concept. In accounting, business is considered to be separate entity from the owner. This concept assumes that for accounting purposes, business and businessmen or owners are two separate entities. So business transactions and personal transactions are separate. For example, suppose a person invests 10,000 into business. It is deemed that the owner has given that much of money to the business, which will be shown as a liability. In case the owner, say, withdraws 2,000 rupees from the business, it will be charged to him, and the net amount payable by the business will be shown only as 8,000. So, whatever money is invested is the capital for the business. So, that is shown as the liability. Whatever cash or goods that is being withdrawn by the owner is not a business expense, but that is a personal expense that would be treated as drawings. So the accounting records are made in the books of accounts from the point of view of business and not from the person owning the business. So whatever transactions are recorded is recorded from the point of view of the business. Business has taken loan. Business owns some asset. Business has to pay liabilities. Business has incurred loss. So whatever transactions are done, it is done from the point of view of business. Next concept is going concern concept. According to this concept, it is assumed that business will continue to run for a long time. So there is no intention to liquidate a particular business. So because of this concept also, accountant also value the assets based on the going concern concept. The depreciation is being charged on fixed assets on the basis of the expected life of the asset rather than we consider the market value of asset. Now, this concept doesn't mean that the business will continue for a permanent time, but it is assumed that the business will continue in operation long enough to charge against the income, the cost of fixed assets over their useful life, to amortize over appropriate period, to pay liabilities when they become due, to meet the contractual commitments. So this concept applies to the business as a whole. So accountant, while valuing the asset, charges depreciation on the expected life. Next concept is money measurement concepts. Accounting records only the monetary transactions. The transactions which cannot be expressed in monetary terms have no place in the books of accounts. For example, business may have a very hardworking or trusted or dedicated employees. They are the asset to the business, but since their money measurement is not possible, they are not shown in the books of accounts. The measurement of business in money helps in understanding the state of affairs of the business. For example, if a business owns 10,000 of cash, say 600 kg of raw material, 2 vehicles, 1,000 square feet of building space. Now these amounts cannot be added together to produce a meaningful total of what the business owns. So if these items are expressed in monetary terms, like cash is in monetary terms, that is 10,000, but 600 of kg of raw material is in units, that has to be measured in the monetary terms. So the value of raw material, that is 12,000, 2 vehicles, say worth 10 lakh rupees, 1,000 square feet of building space, say of 50 lakh rupees. Now these values are in the monetary terms. Now this will be recorded instead of only writing the units of each and every item. Next is cost concept. This cost concept is closely related to going concern concept. As we have discussed in going concern, that the asset is recorded in the books of accounts at the price which is paid to acquire it. That means the purchase price or cost price. And this cost would be the basis for all subsequent years. So according to this concept, an asset is entered in the accounting records at the price which is paid to acquire it. So for example, if a business buys land for 5 lakh, it will be recorded at this value in the books. So if later years say the price increases to 7 lakhs or say decreases to 4 lakh, the market value will not have an impact on the books of accounts, because in books it will be shown for 5 lakhs only. So the cost concept does not mean that asset will always be shown at cost, but the cost becomes the basis for all the future accounting for the asset. It means that asset is recorded at the cost at the time of its purchase, but it may be reduced in its value by charging the depreciation. Next is dual aspect concept. According to this concept, every transaction has a dual aspect. This concept is the foundation or basic principle of accounting. It provides the basis of recording transactions in the books of accounts. So whatever debit credit is being done, that is based on this concept only. So we can say an example that, for example, A starts a business with a capital of 10,000. So there can be two aspects of this transaction. One, the business has asset of 10,000 in the form of cash because 10,000 is being brought in the business, while other, the 10,000 is the capital. So that is a liability for the business. So the accounting equation be like assets is equal to liabilities plus capital. Because this transaction assumes that, this concept assumes that every transaction has a dual effect. So it affects two accounts in their respective sites. So every transaction has to be recorded to at least two places. Again, some examples are there, like goods purchased for cash. So one is goods are being received. So stock is increased in the business. Second aspect is cash is given. So asset is reduced. So these two aspects are to be recorded. Next is accounting period concept. According to this concept, life of the business is divided into different segments, and that each segment is known as the accounting period. So all the transactions are recorded in the books of accounts on the assumption that profits on these transactions are to be ascertained for a specified period. This concept requires that balance sheet and profit and loss account should be prepared at regular intervals. It is necessary for different purpose, like we have to calculate the profit, we have to ascertain the financial position, we have to compute the tax. So indefinite life of business is divided into parts, that is basically a financial year, which is known as the accounting period. So generally it is 1 year, it can be 6 months, 3 months, or 1 month, but usually 1 year is taken as one accounting period, which is a financial year. So a balance sheet or profit and loss account, income statement is prepared for a financial year. Next one is matching concept. Now matching concept is based on the accounting period concept. The objective of running of business is to earn profit. So in order to ascertain the profit, it is necessary that revenues should be matched with the cost or expenses for a particular period. So matching means appropriate association of related revenues and expenses. So income made by the business during a period can be measured only when revenue earned during a period is compared with the expenditure incurred for earning that revenue. So this concept states that revenue and expenses incurred to earn the revenues must belong to the same accounting period. So once the revenue is realized, next step is to allocate it to relevant accounting period. And this can be done with the help of accrual concept. So on a basis of this concept, we make certain adjustments. There are outstanding expense or prepaid expense, accrued income, unearned income. So while preparing the following final accounts, we consider those adjustments. And last one is the realization concept. According to this concept, revenue is recognized when a sale is made. Sale is considered to be made at a point when property and goods passes to the buyer and the buyer becomes legally liable to pay. So the term realization means creation of legal right to receive money. Selling goods is realization. Receiving order is not a realization. Because once goods is sold, be it can be cash or credit basis, because it is based on the accrual concept. So revenue is said to have been realized when cash has been received or right to receive cash on the sale of goods or services rendered, or both. For example, a person places an order, say A place an order with B for supply of certain goods. So on receipt of order, say person B purchases raw materials, he employs workers, he produces goods and delivers to A. And then A makes the payment while goods has been received. Now in this case, sale will be presumed to have been made, not at the time of receipt of order for the goods, but at the time when the goods are delivered to A. Thank you. That's all for today.